on the corner of 25 West Main Street in downtown Vermilion. The Spa at Winnie Mae's is proud to support programming on Coyote News. The Spa at Winnie Mae's, providing salon and spa services for men, women, and children.
Coming up on Coyote News, SESDAC partnered with the Tim Tebow Foundation to host a prom for those with special needs.
Also, students flipped the tables and interviewed potential employers in the muck. Coyote News starts right now.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
Hello, I'm Nick Nelson.
And I'm Celeste LaCourciere. We'll get to those stories and more, but first.
A dramatic video captured a shooting that killed a 2-year-old and his uncle last night. The video is now being examined by police. A woman live-streamed the video on Facebook from inside a car with the victims. Police suspect that the uncle was the target of a gang hit. The toddler, Levante White, is among at least 3 children shot in Chicago in recent days. Questions about the Trump administration's ties to Russia aren't going to disappear with the resignation of National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. The New York Times reports that members of Trump's campaign, including a former campaign manager, had repeated contacts with Russian intelligence officials during the year before the election. But officials say they hadn't seen any evidence of the Trump campaign cooperating with the Russians on hacking or other attempts to influence the election. Meanwhile, closer to home, the South Dakota State House passed a bill yesterday that would boost the penalty for performing most abortions after 19 weeks of pregnancy. The penalty is increasing from a misdemeanor to a felony. But the state's only abortion clinic, Planned Parenthood in Sioux Falls, doesn't perform abortions after 14 weeks. And those are your headlines. Now let's take a look at weather with Lauren Solek. Lauren?
It's starting to feel like spring, and temperatures will continue to rise for the rest of the week. Currently, it's 49 degrees. Tonight will be clear with a low temp of 31, but that will be the coldest we get. Tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with a high near 61, with a nightly low around 34. Any remaining piles of snow will be gone with a high of 65 on Friday. The nightly low will be around 34. The warm temps will continue into the weekend with a high of 59 on Saturday and 63 on Sunday. With the sun out and warm temperatures, use this week to get outside and cure that cabin fever. And that's your Coyote weather.
February is on track to being the warmest month yet, and it's hard not to notice the warm temperatures. Above average temperatures have been dominating most of the Midwest, and it's affecting everyone in the area. USD students are taking advantage.
I like to go outside and play catch with the guys sometimes, or with a football or like a baseball or whatever. Just kind of hang out.
It may feel like a heat wave because while the average high for February in Vermilion is 37 degrees, next week's forecast predicts an average high of a whopping 53 degrees. You'll also have plenty of time to enjoy it because the usual temps aren't going away anytime soon.
The university's tracking your attendance on campus events. Students get in for free for some of these functions using their IDs, earning them PAW points. By swiping their IDs at the activity, the points are loaded. Not all of CAB's events are worth PAW points. Concerts such as T-Pain, which students have to pay for, aren't eligible. But free events like the comedian last week worth points. At the end of each semester, students are invited to the Muck Pit to redeem these prizes for points. The university uses PAW points as a way to track attendance and encourage students to participate in campus events. Coming up, special needs individuals in Vermilion had their night to shine. We'll have the story after the break.
Fostering is when you take in an animal into your home and you take care of them until we can find them a permanent forever home.
If you can find it in your heart to do it, it's rewarding.
We do all the vetting, the neutering, the spaying, the medications.
The Humane Society has lots and lots of great dogs and cats that can pull at your heartstrings and make you realize you got a little more to give.
for this?
This is Coyote News.
Welcome back. Dean of Arts and Sciences Matt Moen is packing up his collection of books and preparing to leave USD in March. The university is busy looking for his replacement. Kurt Hackemer, chair of the history department, starts as interim dean at the end of the month. The university has a call out for the position. Provost Jim Moran says students can expect the same focus on a liberal arts education, no matter who's hired.
USD has really identified ourselves as being an institution in which all of our programs have the basis of a liberal arts foundation.
Moran says the university hopes to have a new dean settled by next fall.
Locals with special needs recently had a night dedicated to them in Vermilion. Coyote News' Mason Doctor reports.
On Friday night, Vermilion High School held a prom for special needs individuals called Night to Shine. The event was sponsored in part by the Tim Tebow Foundation.
I wanted to let you know the reason why this is done. This is not the only place this is happening. This is one of about 300 locations all over the world where Night to Shine is happening at the same time.
This was the second annual Night to Shine in Vermilion. Roughly 140 volunteers were involved in organizing the event. Many of the attendees were either CESDAC residents or high school students.
This is such a big night for our guests. We have people that will wear their crowns the entire year after they receive it tonight, and they're just so excited that they get to have this night that's all about them.
The event was also sponsored by Grace Baptist Church in Vermilion. For Coyote News, I am Mason Doctor.
More information on Night to Shine events across the country can be found at timtebowfoundation.org.
Waiting in line to grab a snack or beverage in between classes will now take students even less time. USD issued ID cards to incoming students at the start of the year with a chip built in.
Sometimes the lines can get a little longer because it takes a little extra step for us to get the computers registered, and people like to get a little anxious and tap them early.
While not all students have the new IDs, they're available for purchase at the card desk in the mall.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. They just tell me the total and then I can tap and get my stuff and go. So it's pretty fast.
So, if you're running behind and the line looks too long, you can now be assured you'll get to where you're headed on time.
If you've been on the third floor of Slagle Hall on Tuesdays around noon, you've probably noticed the sound of French TV shows and movies echoing through the hallways. These sounds are a result from an event called Pause Télé, or the French TV break.
The French TV break is a 30-minute time where students of French or members of our community here on campus can come and watch a little French TV.
Chris Knisley, an assistant professor of French, advises and leads the event. He says that the idea for the French TV break came from students.
They were like, we should watch movies in class. We should watch TV in class. I was like, we can't just spend all of class time watching movies and TV. But then I thought about it, and I was like, what is really good is the opportunity to experience the firsthand the culture and the language.
The French TV break is open for all students regardless of your level of French. Knisley says that the French TV break gives students a safe environment to learn a language.
It lets you expand your vocabulary and your cultural knowledge in a way that's supported and you're not just on your own.
His advice for students who are nervous about learning a new language?
Learning a language isn't easy, but learning anything isn't easy. I'd say come try a class, check it out, get to know us. I think you'll find that we have a really supportive community.
For the Yote Report, I'm Nathan Finster.
The French TV breaks held every Tuesday from noon to 12:30 in Slagle Hall, room 305.
Still to come, Coyote News' Crystal Schoenbauer finds out who's sticking to their New Year's resolutions. Stay with us.
I wanted to be a student ambassador because I wanted to be able to give prospective students my view of the campus and so that they can enjoy the university as much as I do.
It's bringing the next generation to USD.
It was a real personal experience more than just, hey, here's a big university.
You're coming into a family and we want you to feel welcome, we want you to feel loved, and we want you to feel confident in your decision to become a Coyote.
It's fulfilling,
energetic,
impactful, community,
challenging,
knowledgeable,
fun,
professional,
the future.
I just love USD.
This is Coyote News.
Welcome back. If you're looking for a job, USD helps bring them to you. Coyote News' Brendan Gakin shows a different perspective on career fairs.
On Wednesday, the Academic and Career Planning Center hosted a reverse career fair on the second floor of the MUC. Typically at career fairs, employers set up booths to attract potential employees to come to them and learn more. At this reverse career fair, student organizations set up tables to inform job recruiters about their groups. The participating organizations range from Greek life to scientific and athletic clubs. Amongst those in attendance was the Pi Beta Phi sorority. 4 women tended their booth informing recruiters of the sorority's mission. Sophomore Taylor White, the vice president of philanthropy, said the career fair is an interesting opportunity.
We just kind of wanted to see what was happening in the Vermilion community and in areas around us and put our name out there as well.
Job recruiters from around the state networked with USD students directly. Heidi Moser, a SESDAC recruiter, says she was pleased with her experience.
It was a really great experience. I learned about a lot of organizations I didn't know were here at USD and made a lot of really good contacts.
Wednesday's fair was the 3rd annual. Heather Johnson, the assistant director of the ACPC, organized the event. She says it was a success.
I love seeing the students dressed up, dressed professionally, being able to present themselves professionally to the employers and being able to explain their organization to the employers. I think it really shows the professionalism that our students can have.
For Coyote News, I'm Brendan Gakin.
For more information, go to the USD website. After a long legal battle, one of Elvis Presley's original guitars is now the property of the National Music Museum. Elvis threw the Martin D35 guitar off stage during a concert in St. Petersburg, Florida in 1977, damaging it. Only 7 months later, Elvis was dead, and the guitar fell into the hands of collectors. Not long after the museum acquired the guitar in 2013, a man came forward claiming the guitar was rightfully his. The National Music Museum fought for ownership of the guitar until late last month. SGA senators discussed last night whether or not USD will become a sanctuary campus. Coyote News' Devin Martin is live in the muck with an at-large student body representative, Jack Seitz. Devin?
Thanks, Nick. And thank you for joining me today. And so, what has your position been with the GAF?
I've been very against it. Mostly the process and how we went about doing the GAF was had very little transparency, and it left a lot of students disenfranchised, in my opinion.
And were you kind of expecting it to go one way? Were you hoping it to go the way you planned it to go, or was it happening some other way?
We had 2 straight meetings where about 30 to 40 fine arts students showed up, and a lot of veterans came as well to speak out against it. So I assumed with that much student involvement that some senators would take that into account. Unfortunately, they did not, and it went 15-10. So I'm very disappointed that 15 senators decide the fate of a 9,000 student campus and basically have those 9,000 students pay $600,000 to something they may not find in their best interest. So I was disappointed and I was surprised.
And now with the sanctuary campus policy that was described at last night's SGA meeting, where do you stand on that issue?
I personally think the Bill Senator Josh Arens, has like a very good idea with where it's going. It's very close to a lot of similar bills sponsored by the University of Alabama, a couple other places like that. I think it's a good idea. I think some of the language needs to be tweaked a little bit, and we also need to keep an eye on how the South Dakota legislature responds to it, because obviously it's Republican controlled, and illegal immigration, illegal aliens in any undocumented people in our universities is kind of a touchy subject for Republican majorities.
Okay. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
The GAV vote may be over, but the sanctuary campus policy will be described at next week's SGA meeting because it is still in the redrafting process. Live in the muck, I'm Devin Martin.
Thanks, Devin. In this week's blog, Coyote Crystal checks in at the Wellness Center to see who's following through with their New Year's resolutions. Crystal?
What are you doing right now? Running. Do you like to do this every day? Monday through Friday. Are you like practicing or training for anything? No. This week for Coyote Crystal, I'm here in the Wellness Center because I want to see if people are keeping up with their New Year's resolutions. It's now the second week of February, so I mean, by the looks of all the people here, I'm assuming people are keeping up with them. Has there been a decrease yet for the New Year's Eve resolution stuff?
Oh yeah, there's definitely been a decrease in people coming since New Year's resolutions.
How many times a week do you come to the gym?
Almost every day, probably. Other than sometimes I don't come on Sunday, sometimes I come on Saturday or Friday, but Monday through Thursday, usually every day.
Is this like a New Year's Eve resolution that you're trying to accomplish here, or?
I'm kind of training for a quarter marathon, and then I'm just trying to get back in shape like I used to be.
What's a quarter marathon?
I think it's like 6 miles.
Is this like a New Year's Eve resolution, or?
No, I've been doing it since I was like 17.
Very nice. What's your favorite thing to do here?
Lift, I guess. I don't know, play basketball.
Can you tell me what's your favorite exercise to do?
I like to run.
Very cool. How many people do you think on average rock climb per day?
Ooh, per day? I'd say maybe like 40 to 50.
Thanks, Crystal. The men's basketball team got a big win this weekend, I heard. Isn't that right, Levi?
Absolutely. We're going to be talking with head coach Craig Smith, and we have a unique story about a sisterly bond on the women's basketball team. Those are all coming up next on Sports.
Hey, Madeline, why don't you explain what improv is?
Well, improv is just kind of thinking on your feet and creating a scene out of nothing. Our first goal is we accept anyone and everyone.
Our second goal is that we focus on improvement.
And also our third goal is we just want to bring comedy back to campus.
We like making people laugh. And that's one of the reasons why we think you should come to Improv Club, for laughs.
Your fire attack. Your fire attack. 1926.
Coyote Twin Theaters in downtown Vermilion, providing entertainment Tuesdays through Sundays. A proud supporter of USD student media.
This is Coyote News.
Hello, I'm Levi Goots. Tonight on Coyote Sports, the men's basketball team's coming off a big win, and we talked to head coach Craig Smith. But first, the headlines with Lauren Solek. Lauren?
The Iowa Hawkeyes have hired NDSU's offensive coordinator Tim Polasek and Northern Illinois wide receiver coach Kelton Copeland. Polasek spent the last 3 seasons at NDSU and will be the line coach for the Hawkeyes. Polasek will replace Brian Ferentz, who is now the offensive coordinator for Iowa. Copeland was USD's wide receiver coach for 2 seasons back in 2011 before spending the last 4 seasons with NIU. Copeland is taking over for Bobby Kennedy. For the 5th straight week, freshman pole vaulter Chris Nilsson has been named Summit Indoor Track and Field Athlete of the Week. Nilsson has now set a new league single-season record for the weekly honor. Nilsson improved his NCAA leading height to 18 feet 8¼ inches. This is the 5th straight week Nilsson has bettered his personal best. Nilsson's new height moves him to 11th in the world. Nilsson also broke the American Under-20 indoor record previously held by Jacob Davis of Texas since 1997. Joining Nilsson as Athlete of the Week was teammate Emily Brigham. Brigham vaulted to an indoor personal best of 13 feet 7¼ inches. Brigham ranks first in the Summit and tied for 20th in the nation this season. And those are your headlines.
USD's men's basketball team defeated SDSU in a 91-89 thriller Saturday afternoon in the Sports Center. Both teams scored early and often. Senior forward Tyler Flack was named Summit League's Men's Basketball Player of the Week. Flack was also named the College Court Report Player of the Week. This award is given to the top player among the 24 mid-major conferences. Flack scored 23 points and had 8 rebounds against SDSU. Sophomore guard Matt Mooney made 5 3-pointers on his way to scoring 25 points in the game. The win puts the Coyotes at 9-4 in Summit League play. The men play their last home game on Saturday afternoon against Oral Roberts. Tip-off is at 3:15. After the big win over SDSU, the Coyote men look to ride the momentum through the rest of the season. Coyote News' Andy Hartman is live in the muck with head coach Craig Smith to talk about what it'll take for the Coyotes to make a run at the conference title. Andy?
Thanks, Levi, and thanks for joining us, Coach.
You bet.
All right.
Thank you.
So tell me, what was the atmosphere like in the locker room following Saturday's game?
Well, as you can imagine, it was pretty exciting. It was electric, just like the arena was. I mean, we had over 5,200 wild, crazy Coyote fans going nuts, and the spirit and atmosphere was electric, and it really makes them even more special having a brand new $66 million arena to reunite all Coyote fans together.
Right. You had a pretty close loss to SDSU earlier in the season. How did it feel to be able to beat them here at home?
Well, it was huge for our program. You know, you can't have a rivalry unless both teams are doing their part, and quite frankly, on the men's side, we haven't been doing our part, so it was great to kind of get a little bit of revenge after a 1-point loss up at Frost Arena. We're gaining a lot of momentum down the stretch as we only have 3 regular season games left. So to be able to finish the deal against our rivalry opponent was great for all fans involved.
All right, and so the season's winding down. Where are you turning your focus to for the remainder of the season?
Well, it's our bye week today, and then we have our last home game against Oral Roberts. It'll be a huge game, last home game of the regular season. Senior night for our one senior, Tyler Flack. And so we really just got to keep getting better. We're incredibly young. We're one of the youngest teams in the country. Out of 351 Division I teams, we're like the 25th youngest team. So we can keep on scratching and clawing. We got to tighten up some things defensively and just keep on improving on the offensive end, and certainly getting Tyler Flack back after his injury has really helped that out.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah. The men's basketball team has their last home game Saturday in the Sanford Coyote Sports Arena. Live from the muck, I'm Andy Hartman.
Thanks, Andy. Rivalries hide during sporting events, but as Coyote News' Michaela Feldman found out, some on the women's basketball team have a different perspective on competition.
We definitely had some competitive games of one-on-one that may or may not have ended in injuries or tears.
They've been playing together since they were kids.
These guys would say competition is always better when it's against your sister.
And being teammates drives them to do even better.
I mean, I certainly aspire to be like her, so that definitely drives me for sure.
Caitlin and Kira Duffy are sisters on the USD basketball team.
Being able to share something like basketball, you learn so much about each other, and yeah, we are very lucky to have this experience.
Caitlin was injured at the end of last year. She says while she hasn't gotten to play with her sister this year, she's hoping for a 6th year of eligibility.
I've been able to kind of watch her grow from a different perspective and sort of coach her in a way, I guess, from the sidelines. And obviously, ideally, I'd love to be on the floor, but it's still been awesome to spend the time with her.
Bridget and Allison Arns are another set of sisters on the basketball team. Bridget, who is a senior this year, says she's always looked up to Allison.
I think, like when she hurts, I hurt, and when she's succeeding, I feel like I succeed just because I see her happy and stuff like that. So I don't know, I just never want to let her down.
Allison says having your sister with you makes all the difference.
I think I always get a good feeling, like if she does something well or if we do something together well, and even outside of basketball, it's always nice to have each other there, someone to talk to, someone to rely on, so it's pretty awesome.
Bridget and Allison say it's going to be weird not playing together next year.
This makes me really sad.
Yeah, it's going to be different. I mean, we've been playing together since I was in 2nd and you were in 4th grade.
Yeah. Their younger sister, Monica Arns, who is a senior at Crofton High School in Nebraska, has committed to USD. For the Sports Report, I'm Michaela Feldman.
The women's basketball team hosts Oral Roberts tonight at 7 in the arena. USD's track and field team split competition between the SDSU Classic and the Tyson Invitational in Arkansas. Joining teammates Chris Nilsson and Emily Brigham at top pole vaulters were senior Madison Mills, who finished in 8th, freshman Micaiah Hunt in 9th, and senior Hunter Wilkes in 11th. Senior Tyler Frank placed 8th in the high jump, while Gwaine Williams was 35th in the 200-meter. At the SDSU Classic, junior thrower Jacob Barents took home the shot put title. Barents threw 56 feet 10 inches for the victory. Sophomore Brennan Schmidt improved his personal best at the 400-meter, while junior Nicole Schmidt finished runner-up in the mile run. Other top 10 finishers include Brittany Kerr, Colette Christensen, Danielle Waldner, and Mary Wester. The Coyotes head back to the Dakota Dome on Friday night for the USD Last Chance meet. The women's softball team opened their season with 5 games in California over the weekend. The Coyotes split 2 games against Long Beach State, losing 8-0 and then winning 1-0. USD lost to San Diego State 7-1 and to number 8 UCLA 6-0. Jamie Holscher scored the Coyotes' only run in their game against San Diego State. Freshman pitcher Allie Wiegand started both games, which included a complete game effort against the Bruins. The Coyotes took on Notre Dame in their final game, losing by a close score of 2-1. USD heads to Arizona for the Littlewood Classic this weekend. That's a look at sports. Coming up after the break, we ask students their thoughts on the general activity fee increase. Their answers are next.
This is Coyote News.
In this week's Out and About, we asked students what their thoughts on the general activity increase was. Here's what they said.
What is GAF? I really don't know anything about it.
I don't even know what that is.
I personally would not agree with it because I feel like we can allocate our money to better things than sports.
Being a student athlete, I'm really excited for the GAF increase to help out athletics, not just like the football and basketball teams that everyone thinks, but like the swim team and the track team. So
I think it's a little bit unfair because I am not into athletics and I actually do not attend any of the athletic events.
Honestly, I think that it didn't do enough for the other organizations besides athletics. I think organizations like the one I'm in, the Student Veterans Club, and others were completely disregarded.
On the GAF increase, I think they could really spread it around a little bit more than they are right now.
I would have been in favor if it would have helped everybody else out, but it didn't help us out at all.
What's that? Huh? I think it's okay if it's going to athletics. We are D1 now. We need to be up to the standards of all the other D1 schools. So,
what are your thoughts on the GAF increase?
The what?
The GAF increase.
Is that like the T-Pain concert thing or what is that? I don't even know what that is.
That's all for Coyote News. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
And be sure to listen for Coyote News daily updates on social media and KAOR FM throughout the week.
And don't forget to watch the SGA debate on Channel 21 Thursday night, Friday, February 23rd at 6. Thank you and have a good night.